Hey, Tim, see what that says? It says you are live. It just left.
Okay. Oh,
you know what that means? We are live.
Well, good.
Yeah.
I can check my pulse there.
Hey, everybody, live with Les on a Saturday afternoon. I'm Les. That is Tim right there. And he's going to do some picking and singing live right here with Live with Les. This is going to be good. I'm excited to have Tim Raybon with us. Now, here's my first question, Tim. Then I got to do a little housekeeping stuff here. Okay. You know John Hagee. You've heard of John Hagee. Oh, yeah. You know, and maybe you've sung for him, but Marty has sung for him a time or two. And one time I saw Dr. Hagee introduce Marty as Marty Raybon. Mm-hmm. So here's the first question. Are you a Raybon or a Raybon?
No, we're Raybons. Yeah. There's goats in our family.
Uh-huh. Okay. We've been talking about his sense of humor. You'll get it here before it's over with today. Okay. Well, I knew that, but I'm just,
Yes, Raybon.
If Dr. Hagee says Raybon, you kind of pay attention and say, let's see here. What is it?
The doctor tells you that.
Well, yes. He's the kind of doctor that can't help you.
But that's most of them, they say.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
All right. So let's see. As always, I got to do a little housekeeping. As always, we got to hawk a mug right there. Hey, your mug, put it up there. Oh. It is from King of Kings Radio Network in Somerset, Kentucky. I went there the other day.
Somerset. Yeah.
They are absolutely playing the fire out of my new album that you're singing tenor on a couple tunes there, brother.
Yeah, they ought to. It's a great project.
I don't know about that, but they're playing the fire out of it and ordering as if I'm somebody. I mean, I'm blessed and blown away by all this. But when I was over there, they gave me a mug, and Tim's drinking from that mug. But I'm not selling their mug. I'm selling mine right there. And there's Brother Les, 50 pounds heavier. That is pre-COVID. Pre-COVID right there. Post-COVID. See? Post, pre. And Live with Les mug. So go to the store. Go to butlermusicgroup.com. And then just click on the store. My CDs, the Old Time Preachers Quartet CDs are there. The book on hymns that I wrote and some other things. So go check it out. And speaking of the Old Time Preachers Quartet, and Tim, you make note of this. We're going to be at my home church tomorrow morning in Murfreesboro. That's Middle Tennessee Baptist Church at 10. And then tomorrow afternoon at 1:30, we're going to be at Fair Havens Baptist Church in Murfreesboro. Y'all are invited. Tim, you're invited. Yeah, thank you. Everybody's invited. Come on out and be with the Old Time Preachers Quartet tomorrow. 10 a.m., Middle Tennessee Baptist Church, 1:30 at Fair Havens Baptist Church. Let's see. What else can I tell you? Let me do this. Let me get my little cheat sheet out here. YouTube channel. Don't forget to go subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is about 1% built. And even at that, you already could listen and watch all kinds of Southern gospel, country gospel, bluegrass gospel stuff for hundreds of hours. I've got hundreds of hours on there already, and it's about 1% built. So you can have a big time now. And by the time it's built, you're going to be overwhelmed and you'll never see and hear all of this stuff. But if you love Southern gospel, country gospel, bluegrass gospel, that's the place to hang out. Subscribe, go to Live with Les on YouTube and subscribe. Told you about the quartet, told you about the store. Okay, our June schedule will be posted on my Facebook page on Monday. We got some really cool things going to happen in June. As a matter of fact, Vic Clay, he was supposed to be with me in May, but he was in the hospital. So obviously he couldn't be with me and be in the hospital at the same time, but he's all fixed up, feeling better. And so the Cathedral Quartet producer, Vic Clay, my friend, my mentor in the studio as a producer, took me under his wings as a snot-nosed teenager in the 70s, took me into his studio with folks like the Cathedral Quartet and many others, and showed me how to do it and how to do it right. And he's a wonderful man, and we're going to have some great Cathedral Quartet stories. And I'm going to bust out the boots that he gave me that were owned and worn by Glenn Payne. I'm going to show you a little memorabilia there while he's with me, and that's going to be wonderful. So check out my Facebook page on Monday, and the entire June schedule of what's happening will be there. And what else do we have? Don't forget, in the Singing News Fan Awards, in the new artist category, please vote for Heart to Heart. They're on my family music group label. They made the top 5 nominees as the new artist, and they got the goods. And so go and support them if you would. Also in the Scoops Magazine Diamond Awards. That's an open ballot. So if you would remember those folks that I've been blessed to produce that are on my label, such as Barry Rowland and Deliverance, Heart to Heart, Heaven's Mountain Band, the Marksman Quartet, Old Time Preachers Quartet, vote for them in their various categories. I would appreciate that very much. God bless you for doing that. And that's about it right there. So there we go. I will read a couple of letters. If you missed my Blackwood Brothers show from Monday night, I believe it was, go back and watch it. I got a couple of emails here. I have one from Vic Zabelka. Now, you don't know Vic, but I do. He sang at mine and Bev's wedding back in 1983, and I produced his quartet, the Journeyman Quartet. They were really, really good. And Vic is a stupendous quartet lead singer. And he emailed me, and I wanted to just share this. Enjoyed the James Blackwood segment. I was at every Medina Sing in the 70s and the 80s. Lloyd Orrell was the promoter. His son Larry would open the program with his trio, the Orrells. They were great. Parked on the side street where the big Eagle Tour buses, while with the big Eagle Tour buses, while Larry parked his 1948 GMC 4103 anywhere he could. Great memories. That's good, Vic. That's good. And then here's one from Don Reed, my friend from the Statler Brothers, the lead singer of the Statlers. He said, what a good show you did on the Blackwoods. Just to hear James's voice singing or speaking is a blessing to me. My hero since I was about 9 years old. What a talent and what a man. Thank you, Don Reed. And I thought you would enjoy that Blackwood Brothers show, and I'm glad that you did. Well, that's it. So now it's time for today's show, and Tim Raybon right here. Tim, thanks for coming, buddy.
Thank you, Les. Good to be here.
We just live. How far do we live from each other?
I think about 1.5 miles as the crow flies, they say.
It's close.
It's very close. Yeah.
We're in the same town.
Yeah.
We've just recently really got to meet and know each other. Mm-hmm. Now, I've been familiar with you and your brother forever and a day, and played your music when you were doing the brother thing, mm-hmm. and then when you were with Marty's group Full Circle, and now mm-hmm. you've got your own Merle Monroe, mm-hmm. and you sing, songwriter, pick, in real estate here in the Nashville area.
Mm-hmm. I just retired, but yeah.
I forgot. Yeah, congratulations, man.
Thank you. Yeah.
So
retired.
What do you do with your extra time now?
I'm writing a lot more, but letters and bills and things like that. No,
of course.
No, I'm able to write a lot more, and actually, it's been pretty beneficial to me. I found out this week I have a couple more cuts from other established artists, so it's worked out real well.
You have the #1 song now with Marty,
mm-hmm. Yeah,
and you've got a new album coming out with Merle Monroe.
Mm-hmm.
But today we're going to feature some of the gospel stuff that you do,
mm-hmm.
and boy, Tim,
mm-hmm.
Boy, that demo that you cut with my son this week, mm-hmm. that you just wrote, Out
mm-hmm.
of This World, and God's Still in Control. We're going to do that last. It's honestly, it's one of the best songs I've ever heard in my
mm-hmm.
life, any field of music.
Well, thank you. That's very kind of
you. It impacted me the second I heard it.
Well, thank you. We'll talk about it a little bit later on, but it was on the charts for 54 weeks in the top 10 for 54 weeks, and much of that was spent at #1. So we were very, very thankful for that.
Yeah.
It was just a gift. It was a gift for me.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll talk about that in a minute. I love the story behind
mm-hmm.
the whole writing of it.
Mm-hmm.
But, okay. So what song, we've never done any live playing on Live with Les, and we are today. So what song you want to start with?
Well, you mentioned the demo that we did. And again, I did the vocals on it because Matt had did all the instrumentation on
mm-hmm.
it. Your son,
mm-hmm.
he is such a talented guy. Oh my gosh, people need to use him anytime they can. He's so talented.
Thank you. Amen.
So, but it was really a song written out of the prodigal sons. The reason I wrote it was I was thinking about the prodigal son, and
sure.
and when he left and what he thought he wanted to do once he left, and just the first verse speaks of that. And it talks about, again, just about God's forgiveness and how God is merciful. And even though he knows every wicked thing we've ever done, he knows everything wicked thing we'll ever do now or in the future, yet he still came to seek and save the lost.
Amen.
And that's the story of redemption.
Yeah.
And so that's really what the song's about. It's pretty simple. It's nothing deep in the sense that something philosophical. It's just a very easy, put together song, meaning that it's just a couple verses of how simple the gospel is.
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to say. It's not philosophical. It's very simple. That's what I'm trying to.
You know, some of the best songs in the world are simple songs. Amazing Grace. I mean, that's pretty good.
The sweetest song I know.
Yeah. And you've got another song that's similar to what you're getting ready to do. Thank you, Lord, for your blessings on me. That James, Ed, and Russell Easter, the Easter brothers, wrote and recorded. Jeff and Sherry's recorded, and I'm telling you, it's sung in churches all across America every Sunday. Yeah, and so simple that once you hear the chorus the first time, you're singing it the next time.
Yeah, those are some of the best songs. Yeah, that you can just remember easy, but have something to say too.
Yeah,
that's the hardest part of writing, is trying to keep it as simple as possible, but have a lot to say. Yeah,
Well, do yours. I want to hear it.
Oh, well, okay. Again, it's kind of out of the prodigals. Well, I left home when I was young. Well, I said I'm gonna live the way I want. But then one day I reaped what I'd sown, and I couldn't pay sin's debt for what I owe. So thank you, Lord, for saving me. There is no question but where I'd be.
Amen.
It was your grace and love that set me free. Thank you, Lord, for saving me. I heard about an old rugged cross, and how a man hung there and paid the cost. And he knew all I had done, 'cause he came to seek and save those who are lost. So thank you, Lord, for saving me. There is no question but where I'd be.
Yeah.
It was your grace and love that set me free. Thank you, Lord, for saving me. Thank you, Lord, for saving me. There is no question but where I'd be. It was your grace and love that set me free. Thank you, Lord, for saving me.
Boy. Amen.
Thank you.
What a story, the prodigal son story.
Yeah, it is. That is a great story. I think we need to read, at least once a month.
Yeah.
It's how the father ran to the son.
Yeah.
Which would be a no-no in their culture. That the father would lift his garment up to run, that people could see his heels, his ankles, his shins, whatever. But he raised his garment to run.
Yeah.
I would say to put himself in shame to go run to his son.
Yeah.
To love him.
Yeah.
It's a great story.
Yeah.
I remember.
Fell on his neck.
Fell on his neck and loved him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't matter what he had done.
Yeah. Glad he did that.
Yes.
For me.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Man, that's good, Tim.
Thank you.
So how did you, so you and Marty, did you grow up in a musical family?
We did. Yeah, we actually grew up playing bluegrass. So people were wondering, well, what's that guy singing? That's bluegrass.
Yes, it is. And it's good bluegrass.
No, I don't know about that, but no, but we grew up playing. Our dad was a fiddle player, and he brought us to our first bluegrass festival in 1972 in Lottie, Florida.
No, right where it is.
And
my quartet has sung in Lottie.
Oh, wow. I mean, there's nothing in Lottie.
Well, there's one Baptist church.
Well, there is. Anyway, went there and we saw the Lewis family there. Many people there may remember the Lewis family, but Bill Monroe was there. The Osborne brothers were there. Jim and Jesse.
Man, what a festival!
Jimmy Martin.
It
was a major lineup.
Yeah.
And but then we were hooked, and I was only maybe 8 or 9 years old at that time. Then about 6 months later, they had a little band contest there.
Oh, okay.
So Marty and I, my other brother Rick, who's our oldest brother, he was in the girls and everything, and he thought he was too cool to play bluegrass. So, but Marty and I, being you know dumb and talented, we got this idea that we go in that band contest, and he and I would get into it, and I sang some very obscure song, a Hispanic song that I couldn't pronounce most of the words. This is in 1972, and I don't know where that came from. But Marty sang, I think, the Battle Hymn Republic, or maybe Johnny Horton's song in 1814. We took a little trip.
Yeah,
the Battle in New Orleans. Battle in New Orleans. Yeah. And we didn't win anything. That we were cool.
Oh yeah,
we were cool.
No doubt you were.
And so, as our chauffeur drove us home, our dad, Rick found out that and Marty and I maybe exaggerated a little bit how well we did. Well, Rick kind of got some interest because he thought there may be girls there. So then we formed a little band, and then as that went on, I was maybe a couple of years later when I was about 11, we actually formed a really good bluegrass band, and we played together about 10 or 11 years.
Okay.
And we got a pretty good ways too, and cut several records.
Okay.
And we did a lot of things with it, and that kind of catapulted Marty into moving to Nashville, then to later on form the group Shenandoah.
Yeah.
And then I would come in the 90s, years later. But music has always been a part of our life. It's just what kind of consumes us. Now, music is all that Marty does, but I kind of got out of it for a while and went to the business world, but music was still part of my life, and to a great extent. I didn't do a lot with it, but till here recently. But
oh boy, and he's taking it quite seriously now. We'll probably hit that here.
Okay. Well, anyway, but no, it's just always been part of our life,
Yeah. And then when Marty moved to Nashville, I guess you followed suit before too long, because I know the two of you were signed as a brother act.
Yeah, that was years later. That was several years later. Marty came to Nashville in '82, and I didn't move here until '93.
Okay. Yeah.
But then it wasn't until '97 that he and I had we had a record deal with MCA Records, which is owned by Universal. But then we had a song "Butterfly Kisses," and then a song with Olivia Newton-John, and so it was fun.
Yeah.
But then, as soon as that was over, I quit music altogether. I quit for about 10 years. I didn't do anything.
Did real estate. Yeah.
Got real involved with real estate and building. And so that's what I've done the last 22 years here. And like I said, I just retired this past April. So very fortunate, to be where I'm at.
Yeah. Well, then, and now today you have a business and music partner, and you've teamed together, and you have this band called Merle Monroe, and they're hot as a pistol. And we're going to do a song here in a little bit from one of their a new album coming out, I guess. But so you got Merle Monroe, and obviously Merle as in Haggard, Monroe as in Bill, and you combine those worlds in what you do as a band.
We did, yeah. We we're not just a traditional straight bluegrass band. You're right. We took the name from Merle Haggard, which is the country side of what we do, and then of course the bluegrass side is from Bill Monroe. Yeah. So we just kind of hybrid them together, if you will, and it's worked out real well. And matter of fact, there have been 3 or 4 other bands come out, they've done the same thing that we came out with.
Yeah.
We kind of set, I think, a precedent that a lot of bands have followed, new bands, I should say.
Yeah.
And because, we don't even call ourselves a bluegrass band. We really call ourselves America's music.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we can play pretty much any venue. We carry drums with us sometimes. We'll some stuff that's on our new project that's coming out June 4th. You'll think, well, that could be played on country radio. Now, an older country radio station, it's not the bro country kind of stuff. Traditional country, yes. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So, but we just kind of married those 2 music forms together, because I think that Merle Haggard probably was the greatest influence in the 20th century. Now, I'm not going to exclude Hank Williams, people like him. I'm just saying, but in our generation of the 20th century, Merle Haggard was probably the most influential, because he was a writer, musician, and singer. Yeah. And so for that, his influence is just, I mean, everybody says that Merle Haggard's their favorite singer, if you're a country singer. Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah. If not Merle, it'd be George, but
that's right.
And now we're done talking.
Right. That's right.
It's those 2.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
But then Bill Monroe, in the bluegrass side, was the quintessential man of bluegrass for the 20th century. And the Beatles cut his songs, the Elvis Presley cut his songs. I mean, a lot of people cut his songs, but he was just a straight bluegrass guy. He didn't put up a lot of nonsense about it either.
Yeah, that's for sure.
He was a straight mule skinner, is what he was.
You do Merle and Lester. Okay, so since we're on not Merle, Bill and Lester, give me Bill saying it's not a bit of bluegrass. Go ahead.
Oh, that's something Bill would have said?
Yeah.
Oh, well, Bill was very quick-witted.
Yes.
Bill was a very quick-witted man, and he didn't put up a lot of foolishness. He was just a straight-laced kind of guy, but he would get a little aggravated with people sometimes, and he just was very impatient. And a couple of times one time he was getting this photograph taken, and this is back when you had a camera. You still had to focus the camera, right? And maybe take you a few minutes to get it focused, a few seconds, I mean. And he was kind of impatient. He took his hat off, and he was very stout and a very stout man, just staying with proper posture and everything. And he was about 2 heads taller than the man taking the picture with him. And his wife there was an older couple, and she couldn't get her camera to focus. She says, I'm having a hard time focusing. Would y'all mind backing up a little bit? Monroe takes his head and says, no, ma'am, you back up.
He wasn't going to do it.
He wasn't going to back up. You back up. And then, Bill was asked one time, somebody was asking him a question. He's, I guess, put out about something, I guess. And they said, well, Mr. Monroe said, you've been around a long time. Says, how old a fella are you? He goes, I was born in 1911. You figure it out.
You do the math. How about whenever he was, if I remember this story correctly, he was with Sam Bush, Newgrass Revival.
Yes. Oh, that's one of my favorite stories.
Give it to me.
Yeah. I'm hearing this secondhand, but
okay.
But Sam Bush, with the great Sam Bush, Newgrass Revival guy, just wonderful musician, great singer, everything. He started playing mandolin because of Monroe, but after he learned how to play like Monroe, then he was young, so he went on. He progressed, and then he started playing a different art form. And they're somewhere at a show, and I think it was at the Opry, and Sam walks up to Bill and he said, Mr. Monroe, my name is Sam Bush. He said, and Monroe must have recognized him. And he said, oh, what's your name, boy? He says, it's Sam Bush. He said, I'm with a group called Newgrass Revival. We're playing here tonight. And Monroe goes, oh, yeah. And he said, and what's the name of that group you played with there, boy? And he goes, I'm with a group. I'm with a group they call Newgrass Revival. Monroe goes, oh, that's right. I hate that.
He's so to the point.
He got put up with any feelings. Oh, and then Ricky Skaggs tells a story that Monroe was somewhere and he gets put out that Jimmy Martin is saying Christmas time's a coming.
Okay.
And Monroe says, talking about Jimmy Martin, he says that Jimmy don't even believe in Santa Claus. And that's all he said. He didn't understand why I was saying Christmas time's a coming. He says, because Jimmy don't even believe in Santa Claus.
When I'm around all of you bluegrass guys, there's just one story. I mean, it's really, there's a book. It should be a book of just, Monroeisms.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, he had them. His favorite saying was, that ain't no part of nothing.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing.
That ain't no part of nothing. Yeah.
I tell you what, take a sip or two of coffee, and I want to see who's on here with me.
Okay.
My Aunt Sue joined us right out of the gate from Florida. Brenda, good to see you there. Patty Graham from Ohio. Is here.
Ohio.
Loretta, hello. Nicholas Wilkie, hello, guys. Hello, Nicholas. Scott Matthews. Oh, man, Scott is part of, have you ever heard of the Rochesters?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Great family band.
Oh,
yeah.
my.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. Good to see you, Scott. You know this one, Mike Oram.
Oh, yeah. He's a great buddy of ours.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Okay, here you go.
I don't have my glasses. Where am I?
Okay. There, look down here at the bottom.
Yes. Oh, I got you. Okay, yeah. Lock Haven Quartet.
And there they are.
Oh, yeah.
And right here's I'm going to show it here on the camera.
There he is.
Right there's Mike right there.
Yeah, play steel with him and guitar. And man, he's a talented guy.
Yeah. So here's what we're talking about. Back in the 80s and 90s, you used to go to Lock Haven Baptist Church in Orlando.
Yeah.
And right after you left, I came and started playing piano at Lock Haven Baptist Church. So we know a bunch of the same folks from that church. And they had a quartet, and here they are.
And they were great.
They were called the Lock Haven Quartet. And Mike Oram, who's on there with us right now, is right there. That's Mike. And he was a steel player. And there's Burl. He was the tenor singer and a contractor.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
Burl Meinhauer. You had
David Langford play guitar.
Yeah, David. Now, Dave. That's right. Here's David. I'm going to point to David right there. David Langford right there. Now, he played after Lock Haven disbanded. He played in a group with me.
Oh, okay.
Called Boggy Creek. And David's a great musician, man.
Great.
Banjo, guitar, harmonica, bass. I mean, he plays it all. And then this gentleman here was their lead singer. I'm pointing to. And his name was Clayton John.
Clayton John.
And he died tragically in a car accident in his late 30s, I think. And boy, it just, we grieved, the church grieved for his family. And he was such a nice man, a great man. And they had a great quartet. And there they are. And I just wanted to bring that up there. Lock Haven Quartet. And they were from Orlando, Florida, Lock Haven Baptist Church, which is still alive and well and going today. Matter of fact, my pastor, Tony Hudson, has preached there in recent years at the quartet. So anyway, little homecoming there for us.
Yeah.
Lock Haven Quartet.
Yeah, Mike's a good friend.
And Mike is on here with us today. And let me see, I'm going to turn this around just for a minute while I'm talking about this stuff here. Amy, good to see you. Dan Moneyhun. Do you know Dan? Dan Moneyhun played rhythm guitar and sang lead with Paul Williams and the Victory Trio.
Oh my gosh. The quintessential of just great bluegrass gospel.
Yes.
And of course, Paul, talking about Jimmy Martin a little while ago, all the great songs that I would dare to say that Paul was probably made Jimmy Martin. That's just my opinion, but
yeah. I will agree with that opinion.
Yeah, he was great. And what a great band.
Yeah. Paul to me is maybe the best bluegrass tenor of all time to me.
And lead. I mean, and Paul could sing lead, but I got a great story about Paul.
Do it.
I was at Joe's festival, and up in Ohio.
And Joe Mullins.
Mullins Festival. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. And the Radio Ramblers. Yeah, I was at his festival. This has been about 7 or 8 years ago, maybe a little longer than that. But Paul was there, and Paul started singing Fraulein. I take it Paul was probably in his early to mid 70s at that time. I would take it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the crowd just goes wild.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at Joe. I said, "Can you believe what you're hearing?" Joe goes, "Brother, I believe it." Because Joe knows him very, very well.
Yeah,
I didn't know that at the time.
Yeah.
And I looked at him. I said, "Man, I would give anything if I can sing like that when I'm his age." Joe says, "I would give anything if I could sing like that now at my age."
I'm telling you.
He's just one of the quintessential singers in bluegrass of all time. Just
Paul recorded a song that my aunt wrote that I published called "What a Journey." If you've never heard it, I don't know if you have Apple Music on your phone.
I do.
Anyway, get it. He sings a fire out of it. And man, my aunt wrote herself a lyric on this thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's legit.
Yeah.
Look that up. What a journey.
What a journey. Yeah.
All right. Let's see who else we have here. Dan Smith. Hello, Dan Smith.
Yeah.
Joe Raton. Hey, good to see you. Daniel Crabtree. Who in the world is that?
Oh, I know Dan. Yeah. Great rider. Man, what a great rider Daniel is.
Yeah. He sure is. And Troy Carpenter from Bellevue, Florida.
Yeah. Know Troy very well. Yeah.
Dan saying, "What a Journey" was a great song for us. It's a song I was just talking about. Okay. So, all right. So do another one. Now, we were just talking about your Merle Monroe. Now, Merle Haggard, he recorded a bunch of gospel songs. I mean,
he did.
I've got a bunch of them. And you mentioned one in particular that you're going to do now.
Yeah.
It's one of my it may be my favorite Haggard tune.
Well, he his mother must have been a devout Christian and must have prayed for him all the time, to come home, if you will.
Yeah.
And, of course, him growing up hard like he did, but his dad dying at such a young age just impacted him. But, however, her influence on his life was major.
Stayed with him.
Oh, yeah, it stayed with him. And I think it haunted him to a great extent. I think a mother's love or a father's prayers, I think, can do that and can turn you from a wayward person, Christian, if you will, back home, back to the true father.
Well, the word says that they won't. You sow that into him as a child, that he won't depart from.
Yes, yeah, I have to believe that.
Yeah,
I have to. So,
I claim that.
So, but Merle Haggard wrote this song. This would have been way before his major fame. He would have written this song back in probably the late 60s, but it is so relevant today.
Especially, and you were telling me the second verse. Oh my.
Yeah.
The second verse is as if it was written in May of 2021.
Now, I haven't seen this in a very long time. It's been a very long time, but it's out of the 60s, and Merle Haggard wrote this, and I'll try to do it justice,
Do it.
Like the ancient Roman Empire, this world is doomed to fall, and it's much too big a thing for mortal man. And just take a look around and see the writing on the wall. But somehow we got to find a helping hand, 'cause this world has never been in the awful shape it's in.
Yes, sir.
Lord, our leaders seem in doubt of what to do. Well, it's time a prayer was spoken from the heart of every man. Jesus, take a hold and lead us through. Well, the mighty roar of gunfire is battling borderland land, and our city streets are filled with angry men. And I can't remember the second part of it.
That's all right.
But we must find a way to find the Lord and lead back the Lord is fine. Somehow we got to find a helping hand, 'cause this world has never been in the awful shape it's in. Lord, our leaders seem in doubt of what to do. Well, it's time a prayer was spoken from the heart of every man. Jesus, take a hold and lead us through. For this world has never been in the awful shape it's in. Lord, our leaders seem in doubt of what to do. It's time a prayer was spoken from the heart of every man. Jesus, take a hold and lead us through. Jesus, take a hold and lead us through. Oh, I'm sorry I missed that second verse. That
happens,
lost me.
brother. That happens. If I had a dime for every time I stood in front of somebody who did that, we'd be doing this show on my island.
On Tiki Island, no doubt. Yeah.
Not in Smyrna, Tennessee. Boy, you know what? Well, goodness, what a true song. And, you know, all I could say is thank God that he will take our hand and he will lead us through these troubled times.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, nothing's new under the sun. Yeah. What we're going through today is in nothing in comparison of what happened centuries ago.
Yeah.
There was rampant evil then.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I would say that they were far more perverse than where we are today. And we think we've hit the bottom, and to a great extent we have, but we're not even to the level of some people, what they did back centuries ago.
Yeah.
The pervasiveness of evil was just, it's unspeakable.
Yeah.
Some of the things that they would do.
True.
Yeah.
That's a good song, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, let's see who else may be on here with us. Nathan Morris is from Indiana. He's a Hoosier. He's on with us today. And let's see, we got Nicholas Wilkie saying something here. I like your low tones. Nice.
Oh, my guitar, my voice.
He's talking about your voice. He's a bass. He loves bass singers. He loves it. We can't quite see it. Let me try to do this real quick. Now, this is probably going to be herky jerky and all that, but right there is Glenn and George right behind you.
Yeah.
He loves him some George Youngs.
Yeah, George Youngs. Yeah.
As we all do.
Yeah.
And so there you go. There you go, Nicholas. Take a good look at him there. Let me get this back kind of halfway right. Let me see.
They were the best. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Have you had, I don't think I've ever asked you this before. Have you had anybody in Southern Gospel cut your stuff? Any of your gospel stuff?
I haven't yet, but you know, my songs really haven't been out that long. Not that I know of.
We're going to have to work on that.
The King James boys have cut a song of mine, and I can't remember the name of it.
Randy Spencer.
Yeah, they're great. They're great. I think it's called "He Paid It All."
Okay.
But they just cut one of mine, and then a song that I wrote called "I Want to See Heaven." Marty has just cut it. I Want to See Heaven, and it's a great storyline song, and has a good twist to it, and it kind of gives it away at the end.
Okay.
And so it's that. But as far as I know, no Southern Gospel has cut any of my stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
That I know of. Yeah.
We got to work on that.
Yeah. Well, you know, Rich did next week. I gotta.
I know someone that might could help you with that.
Oh, okay.
I'll give him a call.
Does he have an island?
No, but he wants to have.
Oh,
one.
he wants to have an island.
And he would have had that island if he could have just had a dime for every time he sang in front of folks and forgot words.
Well, so that reminds me of the little Jimmy Dickens and the Porter Wagner story at the Opry.
Put it on me.
You know, Porter Wagner's introduced little Jimmy Dickens, and little Jimmy Dickens had the song "Old Cold Tater." Take an old cold tater and wait. Yeah. So Porter's introduced him, says, "And ladies and gentlemen," said, I want to introduce you guys to this young man here. He said, this guy here is just one of the greatest, talents at the Opry and this and this. He says, he's going to do a song that you guys have probably heard a lot, but it's a great treat every time he does it. So he gets ready to introduce little Jimmy Dickens. He says, Jimmy, Porter says to him, Jimmy, don't you wish you had a dime for every time you sing Old Cold Tater? He says, I do.
Yeah, I do. Well, he was a funny man.
Oh, he was
a funny man.
Little Jimmy was a great guy. Yeah, he was. He's very, very witty. Very witty. Yeah, very witty. Yeah.
I loved his the Willie Nelson on Taxes, you know, when he wore that, you know, Pepto and all that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now you gave us some Bill Monroe a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to give me some Lester Flatt.
Oh,
yeah, I don't care. I mean, just give me some Lester. You do Lester well.
Okay. Well, got to think of a story, but Lester and Bill, they were, Lester started out playing with Bill.
Mm-hmm.
I would dare submit to you that, and some of the bluegrass people on here would probably knows this as well. I think if it had not been for Flatt and Scruggs,
Mm-hmm.
Lester Flatt obviously was hired before Earl Scruggs was. And Lester wrote so many great songs for Bill in their day. And I would submit to say that if it had not been for Flatt and Scruggs with Monroe in 1946, we would not have bluegrass like we have it today. Matter of fact, it might have died out. It might have just died mm-hmm. with Monroe. They just kind of changed things, and they went on to obviously their fame. And what's funny about Flatt and Scruggs is they never billed themselves as a bluegrass band. They were always a country band. That's the way they billed themselves.
Yeah, Louise made sure that happened.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. She got on a bus, got them the sponsorship with Martha White.
Yeah.
Got Earl the sponsorship with Gibson.
Mm-hmm.
She was a savvy business person.
She was that.
Yeah. But anyway, we played a few shows with Lester, and back when I was a kid, and he was a very sweet man. Mm-hmm. Always took time for people, but anyway, he would say something to you, and if you compliment him, he'd go, "Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, folks. I appreciate that so much. Thank you." He was just humble.
You do Lester so well.
Oh, thanks. A lot of people. Unfortunately, Lester has been gone for so long. A lot of people don't even know who he was, but he was a great talent. One of the best rhythm guitar players ever. Yeah, and he played with a thumb pick, and a index pick.
Yeah,
they call it, I guess.
Yeah,
but, But one of the greatest rhythm players ever, and songwriter.
I've got a Flatt and Scruggs story.
Okay.
My uncle, his name was Bill Johnson, was a promoter in Eastern Kentucky, Ashland, Kentucky, to be specific. Big old bluegrass promoter. I mean, he did big events. And he had Flatt and Scruggs in on one of his events, and I was just a young boy at the time. And it was in the summer, and my parents went to East Kentucky to see my grandparents, my mom's mom and dad. And it happened to be the same time of this festival. So we go over to my uncle's house, and Flatt and Scruggs is there at the house, and they're just picking and singing and have a barbecue. They're cooking out outside. They're just having a big old time. And they stayed the night with my uncle, and then the next day was going to be the festival. Yeah. And so two things happened. One is Earl put me on his knee and showed me how to do a 3-finger roll on a banjo. And I stayed in the bedroom with Lester. He was in the bed, and they made as they say back in Eastern Kentucky, they made a pallet for me on the floor. And I slept that night in the bedroom there with Lester Flatt. There's my Flatt and Scruggs story.
Wow, that's a story.
That's pretty cool stuff there.
Yeah. I don't know if many kids could tell a story like that.
I'm telling you, it was good. Yeah. And they're my all-time favorite bluegrass band. Yeah. Flatt and Scruggs. They did so much of the gospel stuff, and 90 to 95% of that wasn't Earl on a banjo.
Right, yeah.
But it was doing that
flat picking,
finger picking, flat, all 5 fingers.
Right. Finger style picking, yes.
That unique thing that was him on a guitar.
Right. Yeah, the great thing about Flatt and Scruggs, they were one of the fortunate bands, fortunate for us, that band cut so many albums.
Yes.
Because of their endorsements and the record label they were with. Yeah. And so they put out a lot of music.
Yeah.
They put out a lot of music.
Yeah.
And but Lester was a very kind, sweet man. We played with him probably the last year that he lived, and he was so sick. He would just sit on a chair, maybe play a couple songs, and he'd have to get up and go back to his bus. His nurse was even on the road with him at that time. And he got very, very sick, but we did play with him prior to then too, when he was still, playing. And Marty Stewart was playing with him.
Yeah. Yeah. I got
and
to
Marty
see
was
him
a young
with
guy.
The Nashville Grass.
Grass. Yeah, that's right. Nashville Grass. Yeah. And, but Lester, he was quite a man. He was a sweet man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as a matter of fact, I think the last 2 weeks of Les Butler and Friends, my syndicated bluegrass show, I did an all Flat and Scruggs show for 2 consecutive weeks.
Oh, wow.
Flat
Wow.
and Scruggs bluegrass gospel. And I didn't even skim the surface. I think I ended up counting like 100 gospel songs that they recorded.
Yeah, they did so many. And, I didn't know this until Kyle Cantrell told me this, that Lester had a radio show on WSM.
I didn't know that.
I think every morning he had one in the morning.
Man, I wonder if they archived some of that and you could hear.
Oh, I would assume they have. But yeah, he did that for a very long time.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I want to do a little research with that.
Yeah,
Next
need to
time
ask Kyle.
and
Yeah,
I do lunch,
yeah.
I'll dig into that a little bit.
Yeah, and I hope I didn't dream that. Because
I'll call and tell you.
I'm on some melatonin, so I might have dreamed that. So.
I'll call and tell you. I'll call and tell you. Say, Tim,
wake up.
He never had a show on WSM. He need to stop taking that melatonin.
Melatonin, yeah. Needs to start staying up more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's do one more song, and it is my hands down my favorite that you've done. And again, I say, and I mean it when I say this, this is one of the greatest songs I've ever heard in my life. And tell the folks the story about you when you did this. You called and told me the story about it.
Yeah. So, like all of us, I don't think there's any person in America that was not affected by, when the president made this announcement, they were shutting the country down.
Yeah.
We've never heard we never heard any leaders say that before. They're going to shut the country. I was like,
how do you do that?
What does that involve?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he starts elaborating on entertainment centers being shut down, cruises being shut down, nightclubs being shut down, festivals being shut down, everything.
Yeah. Churches.
Well, churches, yeah, everything.
Literally everything.
Coliseums, venues, concerts, everything shut down.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I knew what that was going to impact. And unfortunately, many of the artists that we know, unfortunately, live from week to week.
Yeah.
Because they don't make a ton of money. They just don't.
Mm-hmm.
Not only does it affect just musicians, but also concession people.
Sure.
People who make T-shirts in their garage at the house for people. The people who deliver stuff to these venues.
Ticket takers.
It's going to affect everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what hit close to home to me was people that I knew in our genre of music, which is bluegrass. And I knew that they were going to be financially. This is before the CARES Act come out too. The announcement was that day, and my heart was broken for those people. Look, I was okay. I don't make my living this way. Mm-hmm. So I was okay, but I knew many of them did make their living that way. Yeah. And I knew they were going to be just devastated. What were they going to do?
Yeah.
And I was just so burdened, and broken by it. But what the Lord will do, he'll just give you assurance. Look, and something just kept saying to me, look, I have this. I'll take care of it, kind of thing. Nothing happens in a vacuum with God. He knows everything that's going to happen. Yeah. He knows it beforehand. He knows what's going to happen next week. He knows what is going to happen next year. He just knows it. He's omnipresent.
He knows before it happens. He knows it's going on while it's happening, and he knows after it's happened.
And he knows what to do when it happens.
That's exactly right.
So I had that just in my spirit, if you will, just an assurance that look, I'm in control. This is nothing. I got it. I'll take care of it. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes, we need that kind of wake up in our lives.
Oh my!
As a nation, I think we need it. We still need that in this nation.
Yeah.
That God is still really, if not for Him, we have nothing. If not for His grace and mercy, we're gone.
Yeah. Amen.
But anyway, I sat down that night and I wrote this songs because I remember saying to my wife, I said, the world's changed.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, their world has changed. It's never going to be the same. Yeah. Because and they were saying, well, we don't know how long it's be shut down. We're hoping maybe a few weeks. I even knew then it wasn't going to be for a few. You don't shut down a nation and they start it back up in a few weeks. Yeah. Things were going to be different.
Yeah.
And that's something else. Just I knew that everything had changed from that time forward. And I think unless something happens in a major way for the better, I think our country has changed forever now, unfortunately, because of it.
No doubt.
Anyway, but so I sat down and I wrote this song, and I wrote it probably less than probably 15 minutes. There was no rewrites to it. No rewrites to it. I wrote it exactly the way it came out.
Wow. That's what it sounds to me like. It's one of those songs where you held the pen.
I did.
You didn't do any writing, but you did hold a pen.
Yes, I want to be careful because I don't want people thinking that I had some inspiration from God. I'm not saying that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that at all. But God just blessed me with a brain and two hands and paper to write something I felt that I wanted to write,
mm-hmm.
that he would bring him honor.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I want to be careful about saying that he inspired me. I want to be careful there. So, but I will say that I do think he gave me a gift with this song, because this song has been, the week after we put it out, people were playing this at funerals.
Yeah.
People were playing this in church.
Yeah. I did.
We had people wanting us to come to their church and perform it.
Yeah.
Just that song.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we've heard that people on our Facebook page, we've had people says, you don't know how the song has changed my life. But I'm the writer, and that's a heavy responsibility.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it says, my mother passed away. I cannot tell you. And it's like the song Lee Greenwood had out, God Bless the USA. Every time something happened tragic in our country, they always play God Bless the USA.
They
right?
Run to that.
That's the kind of default song.
The go-to, yeah.
Well, that's what we were hearing for the last year and a half. People would say something tragic would happen. And they would say, look, I was listening to your song, and this song just I want you to know it helped me through it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. What an awesome responsibility.
And kind of like what you just said with God Bless the USA. I think if the Lord allows time to go on for a while, people will be running back to this song.
Mm-hmm.
I have.
Yeah.
I can tell you for a fact it's happened because I've lived that, and I've gone back to that song because I've had to.
Yeah.
I've felt the tug to the need to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's going to be the case for years to come if the Lord tarries his coming.
Thank you.
Now, that said, I don't think he's going to tarry his coming. I think his coming is nigh.
Mm-hmm.
It's very close.
Yeah.
But as long as he's here, where you need to hear a song like this right here. Go ahead and do it.
Okay. Well, I know the world's different than it was yesterday. What you thought was certain has now gone away. Oh, but listen, my brother, one thing is not changed.
Listen.
God's always loved you. Won't you call on his name?
Yeah.
'Cause he knows when your joy has turned to fear. He knows when your laughter has turned to tears. He will not forsake you.
Yeah.
Give him your hand to hold. And always remember, God's still in control.
Thank you, Lord.
No one knows for certain
Listen.
what tomorrow may hold.
That's true, people.
But I know you can count on your silver or gold.
Yeah.
Oh, but listen, my sister, one thing is not changed.
Tell him, Tim.
God in his mercy, won't you call on his name? 'Cause he knows when your joy has turned to fear. He knows when your laughter has turned to tears. He will not forsake you. Give him your hand to hold. And always remember, God's still in control. He will not forsake you. Give him your hand to hold. And always remember, God's still in control.
Tim Raybon. Lord, what a song, what a song, what a song, what a song.
Thank you, Les.
Man, I don't care today what you're going through. It could be a financial situation. God knows about it. He's in control of our finances. We don't live on the economy. The child of God does not live on the economy of this world. We live on his economy. In his economy, it may not make sense to a lot of folks. I mean, it probably didn't make a lot of sense to those that were around that widow woman who had just that one little old bitty bit of meal in her barrel. Yet every time she walked back to it, there was still meal in the barrel. Now that's God's economy. That has nothing to do with the world's economy. That's God's economy. And whenever they saw that little sack lunch of fish and bread that barely was enough for the little boy that brought it, yet he fed thousands with that. That's God's economy. That's not the world's economy. And so if it's a financial situation, if it's a health situation, they probably looked around and Lazarus was in that grave and already stinking, he said. And yet he gets up and walks out of that. That's God's economy. That's not the world's economy.
Right.
And whatever you're going through financially, physically, mentally, spiritually, I want you to be encouraged today and remember this song, that God is still in control. The doctors and their reports, they're not in control. If they were in control, Tim, you wouldn't be here with me today singing on this program.
Right.
Because if you would have wanted to have sing for me, you would have had to have gone to a gravesite somewhere.
Yeah.
But the doctors don't have the final say. The Lord does. And he's in control. He's in control of all of this, everything that I've just said. And be encouraged by that today. That song encourages me, Tim Raybon.
Yeah, thank you, Les. Thank you.
Don't pay attention to, I mean, don't be ignorant. When a doctor tells you something, that God, I think, gives us doctors and gave the doctors the minds to be able to do the things that they do.
Right.
It all points back to God. But so don't be ignorant. But whatever the report is, that doesn't mean it's the final report. God's still in control. My, what a song. The week after you sent that to me, I did it. We were doing, because we were in that pandemic, but they had what they call essential people or whatever. And so for churches, you could have your pastor and, like just the essential team. And we were doing Facebook church. And I went sang that the very next week on my Facebook church program, just as an effort to try to encourage people during those times. And I hope it did. I know it had to. It just had to. And it's still encouraging people today. And you did a video on that. Where can folks go and see that video?
Well, you can go to Facebook and look up Merle Monroe Band.
Okay.
Or go to our website, merlemonroeband.com.
Okay.
They can find us there.
Yeah.
And we're all over Facebook. We have thousands of followers. And so we have stuff that's out all the time. And our new project is going to come out on June 4th. It's called Songs of a Simple Life. And it's been programmed. It's been airing all week, last couple of days on Sirius XM channel 62.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we'll air tomorrow. And then at 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock Central on Monday night.
I'm going to listen to that.
Sirius XM channel 62.
Yeah. I can't wait to hear it.
It's called Track by Track with Kyle Cantrell.
And the song you just did is on that album.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Man, oh, man.
Yeah, it's done very well for us. Yeah.
Oh, Tim, what a song.
Thank
you. What a talent and great group. And just, all of it. I don't have enough flowery words, but I'm glad you took some time out of your Saturday.
Oh, I enjoyed it. Oh yeah, well, we've had lunch several times and talked about this a lot, and so it was a thrill.
Here we are.
You take on a big responsibility. You can try to do live, and
yeah,
you
did great.
Well, I could have forgot my sneakers or something like that when I come over here. Or forgot my picks or
no. Well, I got picks. I could have helped you with
that.
Okay. Now my sneakers, I'm a size 12. They might have been a bit floppy.
I can ski with those shoes.
Well, listen. So he gave you all of the website and all that information. Go check out Tim and his group, and especially this new album that has the song that you just heard. God is still in control. Let's see who else may be on here with us here real quick before we call it a day. Jimmy Hayes says, "Hey, brother." Troy Carpenter, Dan Moneyhan, amen. Patty Graham says, God is still in control.
Yes.
Patty? Yep, sure is. Mary Scott, hey, Les and Tim from Johnson City.
Johnson City, yeah.
Yeah. Dan says, Lester swallowed a big bug on stage. Marty said, Raymond, do you want some water? Lester said, no, Marnie, let him walk down.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, that is so funny. I'm so glad. Is that Dan?
Dan, yeah.
Right,
yeah.
Well, Dan knows this. He never could say Marty. He never could. He said, "Ladies and gentlemen, over here playing the mandolin is Marnie Stewart."
Yeah.
He never could say Marty. He always called him Marnie.
So Dan typed Marnie.
Yeah, Marty. Over here playing mandolin is Marnie Stewart. He's single too, ladies. He always said Marty was single.
Okay, let's see who else we got here. Dan, thank you for bringing that up.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Nicholas says, George Johnson was incredible. Nicholas, we all are in agreement on that. We know that. And then he's talking about your tones. He loves your tones.
Oh, thank you.
Now, we have, when we do our live thing, we normally just have a few jump on. But then, like, in a few days, it'll be up in the hundreds. And then, 2 or 3 weeks later, you'll see it in the thousands. I've got some in the 30, 40,000 views of a single show.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's a runaway train after a while. So everybody share this, and that helps to do that. And Tim, you do that as well. When you go back home, share it with everybody. Yeah. And we had a good time.
A lot of fun.
Would you do this again maybe sometime in the future?
Well, if the money's right, I guess I will.
Well, the money will be the same as it was today. That would be a big goose egg. Hey, speaking of, I'm glad you said that. It brought something to mind. And
I would love to do it.
And we'll end with this. You don't know what this did, especially on that day. But we were having some issues here in the house, some mice issues, and flying squirrels. I mean, it was just unbelievable things. It's quite the story. But nonetheless, and several thousands of dollars later, what I mean by several is up in the 5-figure is what I'm talking about. We got everything fixed and whatnot. But anyway, you'd heard about this, and you gave me a call and asked what you could do to help, and I appreciated that.
No, you bet. Yeah.
There were several things going on that just wasn't going well, including some of my health issues still eyeball deep in that, and other things. And man, that call.
Yeah.
It helped me that day.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tim.
You're welcome.
And I think I mentioned this to you before. Your brother Marty or Marnie. When I was in the hospital, he would call me about every 2 to no more than 3 days for weeks.
Yeah.
And there were times when I couldn't talk all that much because I had all the stuff on, all of that.
Sure.
And all he would do was get on the phone with me and call out to God. Mm-hmm. Now, and I say it like that because that's what he did. Yeah, there's praying, and then there's calling out to God.
Yeah,
and he did that.
And Marty has done that. When I travel with him, all through the day, like maybe traveling all day long, going someplace, maybe to Canada or something on the bus, and he just literally just pick up the phone and just start calling people. And he heard this lady was in the hospital, or he heard these people's child was in the hospital, or maybe somebody lost somebody, that somebody died, or somebody's going through a divorce. I mean, just every scenario there is in the storms of life. And Marty would call these people, into the hundreds
Mhm.
Just call them,
Mhm.
encourage them, pray for them. He's a special guy. He really is. Marty is he is a one of a kind guy.
Yeah.
He really is. I've never met anybody like him, and he's my brother.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, people tend to be a little hard on their siblings. But
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
never met anybody like him.
Yeah. Well, both of you have been a blessing to me, and I didn't want to conclude this show without saying that. And so I will conclude the show with this. Why don't we take that cue from Tim and from his brother Marty, and when the Lord puts somebody maybe on your heart, call them, text them, go to them for that matter, if you can get to them, and try to bless them in some way, and God will bless you in return for doing that, for minding Him. And so that's a great way to end this Live with Les. It really is. So, Tim, thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah,
maybe we'll do it again sometime. And folks, hit share. And God bless you all. I hope you've enjoyed it half as much as I have. If you have, then you've had a great day. God bless you.